Well, I knew this would be historic with Doctor Who dropping below the 2 million marker for the first time ever, because with a season premiere hitting exactly 2 million, you only have one place for it to go, which is down. But I didn't think it'd go this badly. I really think they're in huge trouble. And it's really interesting that the meta commentary of the episode, where they actually, I guess, spoilers, had Doctor Who pop out of a TV screen, interact with the fans, and actually have the fans say "R.I.P. Doctor Who," was pretty prophetic in this. I'm thinking more that it's just a passive-aggressive Russell T Davies talk at the fans, as he's been really cagey really recently. And it goes to show that, you court this type of identity politics, you court this type of just rampant anti-white racism. I'm going to call it what it is. Rampant, straight male anything. It's absolutely crazy because your audience are straight white males for the most part. That is who is going to be watching Doctor Who. I know you want to replace everybody with a different audience, just like you replace the characters, but it's not there. There's no audience that's coming in for this, and it's very, very obvious at this point. It's been a huge downward slide. Let's get into the history of this and see what happened here with Lux and give our analysis in just a moment. Thanks for being here, guys. Hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things Doctor Who and science fiction. Really appreciate you for being here. And I am a science fiction writer myself. If you want alternatives to Doctor Who, this is a great place to be. I am writing so much and so many beautiful science fiction books right now. This is the trilogy where my universe all begins. It's called the Arroz War, and it builds up so beautifully over these 3-book series. It's about a human spy who embeds himself on an alien starship, bringing back information crucial to humanity for them to survive this war, as the Arishans are just making major progress. And it is a big thing. It's got a lot of big personal stakes. It's everything that you'll absolutely love about science fiction. Now, there's a full trilogy, like I said, and it is all on Amazon. You can get it all today. It's available on ebook, print, and audio for your convenience. Thank you for supporting our channel, guys. This is how we go, is these books right here. And I really appreciate all the Doctor Who fans who have come in and been great readers over the last year as we built our channel. Thank you for being here. And let's get into this news. All right. So the second episode of the second season of Ncuti Gatwa's Doctor Who Lux is out, and fans have completely tuned out of the show at an alarming rate that bodes ill for its possibilities of survival. Now, we've just heard rumblings over the last year that it's going to be canceled. It's going to be canceled. We've had reports that it is canceled, and what the official statement is from the BBC and from everybody involved is, we're going to wait and see what happens with Season 2 before making that decision. Now, this is pretty interesting because going back to last year, before this actually came out, I started making reports that Millie Gibson was going to be out as the companion, and she is. And of course, that Gatwa was going to be out as the Doctor, and he's looking increasingly like that's the case. Now, everything was being filmed last year at that time when these rumors were happening. So all of this, the stuff that's airing right now, has not really been in production for a long, long time. This is old material that's just been sitting here. And this is pretty normal because they call these things separate seasons, but if you look at it, there's only 8 episodes of this season. And when there's only 8 episodes, that means they had 1 season commissioned, but they split it into 2 years, right? And they did that intentionally because they don't want to blow their budget and things like that. I think that format, that little Netflix format that everybody's going for these days, where they're giving you less content and then calling it more content, even though it is less content, is really hurting shows, because you get 8 episodes and you have everybody tune out of this for a year, beyond all the political stuff and the bad writing and everything that's gone on with this. Just that format, if you think about it, just like makes it so that, like, oh gosh, what even happened last year? I don't even remember, because they weren't very memorable episodes to begin with. So how am I going to pick up this year, right? And so when you have a whole year in between things like this, or more in a lot of cases, as it is, you've set yourself up for failure, because it's tough to get the audience back tuned in at that point. That's, if you look at the way Doctor Who used to be. I mean, they had like how many did David Tennant have per season? Around 20 episodes-ish? And maybe a special just to keep you going in between, maybe 2 specials sometimes. I mean, it was crazy. And so because of that, you'd parse that out, and you'd have like a fall season, a spring season, and then maybe you'd have the summer off or whatnot, and have a Christmas special in between. And because of that, what would happen, right? You would be interested almost all the year round. You wouldn't forget what happened because it wasn't that long ago. And that's what they used to do on TV shows. I mean, geez, Star Trek The Next Generation used to have, 26 episodes per season? That kind of pace really helped these shows build followings. And it's also got another thing. If you have a stinker of an episode or two, when you have 26 episodes, you can afford that because, if the other 22, 24 are pretty good and you've got 4 or 5 great ones, people have fond memories of it at that point. When you go down to 8, everything has to be a big, tremendous hit. And unfortunately, every single one of these has just been terrible so far. The only good episode last year was the one where Gatwa wasn't in it, where it was Ruby Sunday in this weird horror piece, which they really, unfortunately did not stick the landing of. But that was the only one worth watching last year. And this year, actually, Lux was pretty good. I gave my review of it yesterday. But it's a little too late, and he still did insert the identity politics, which makes you not want to watch the show. And so this is the state of things where it's at right now. Now, we started, of course, with the 60th anniversary specials with these terrible, terrible ratings. And Gatwa's first Christmas special had 4.7 million for its ratings as people tuned in to try to see Mr. Black gay Doctor Who fighting goblins, which was a weird take on the show. Again, they just removed the science fiction from it, which made no sense. Now, last year, The Legend of Ruby Sunday, of course, and had a 2.05 million for the overnight ratings. This was the lowest in history last year. 3 of the top 4, for the lowest in history up until this year, were from last season also, with only one Jodie Whittaker episode being as bad before that. And so this was pretty bad. I kept waiting last year for it to drop below that 2.0 million mark, where I thought, this is going to be major danger for the show, where I think that they won't survive anymore. And it barely kept above it last year. This was it on episode 7. It did tick up for the finale, and then we saw that there was another drop again for the Christmas special. Which had 4.11 from the 4.7. So people are tuning out every single year. They just don't like Gatwa. He's insufferable. He doesn't play the Doctor very well. He plays his own character. It's very much a gay self-insert by Russell T Davies rather than actually making the Doctor the Doctor. He's crying in every episode. It's atrocious. It's very emasculating, and of course, men don't want to watch that because they don't want to watch the main hero be emasculated and the like. Now, the first episode really was a big amount of trouble for this, which was last week. And Virata Sethu, what she did was lecture the Doctor on how bad he was for the whole first episode. Now, they turned that around in this Lux episode, but she was so insufferable. If you got to remember, the ratings that are out for this episode, a lot of it is dependent on the prior episode. It really is a statement of the audience of the prior episode and what they saw and said, nope, I'm not going to bother tuning in anymore. And so this kind of a drop-off is really, really, really bad for this because of what they did with episode 1, which just was, you've got the unlikable Doctor. Now you don't even have a likable Millie Gibson companion. You have an unlikable companion, and that was it. And so it's done. So if you look at the first season, the first episode to second episode drop off, it was 2.6 million to 2.4 million. So 200,000 people fell off after the from episode 1 to episode 2. That's only an 8% drop right there. So not that many people. A lot of people stayed tuned in, being like, okay, I'll give it another shot. And I think they stayed tuned in for Stephen Moffat for the third episode, gave it another shot. This one, they're already done because last season they were like, we already watched this. We saw it. So it started with 2 million, a pretty bottom of the barrel. It went down to 1.58 million viewers. That's a 21% drop. That's a huge drop off from week 1 to week 2. Now, we already have more troubling signs coming for the season later on, where they've already admitted that episode 6 might not even be on the air on TV. That is how little faith they have in this show at this point. They've got it stacked between a football match and Eurovision. And so what's happening on that is if the football match goes long, there's no Doctor Who that week, and it's just not on. And so that is how bad that things are going. They've left things on the schedule at that point. They know that there's no hope for this. They know that nobody's watching this. They know that it's going to be in trouble, and that's why they've commissioned no Christmas special for this year also. That's not going to be happening. It's going to definitely be ending this year. I think this is the complete end of it. And like I said, they heralded it in the episode. They actually they said it in the episode, #RIP Doctor Who. They know it's happening. Very, very sad stuff. Right here. But gosh, this is exactly what they asked for. They told viewers not to watch it. They said that they don't care. They don't have time for any of this anti-woke nonsense. Was the most recent comment from Russell T. Davies. And, you get woke, you go broke because you are forsaking your target demographic. Pretty obvious stuff, but they'll never listen. Leave a comment down below with what you think about this. Please hit the like and subscribe button, everybody. Make sure to check out some great science fiction in the description below. If they do need a revival of Doctor Who, BBC, call me. I know science fiction. I do it very well, and I can fix it, and I can get everybody excited again to watch your show. I'll have my people on standby for that. Anyway, grab this book, guys. Grab the whole trilogy. Please support our channel. Really appreciate you being here. We'll be back soon.